Kim Iju is the ideal child in his orphanage. He lives up to the name given to him by the orphanage director. Iju means skillful in Korean, and Kim Iju has lived his life skillfully. He has a decent job in a supermarket even as his fellow orphans still struggle in their lives. But the manager of the orphanage tells him that the director was planning to retire soon. Once he would go, the orphanage would lose funding and would be shut down in just 3 years. Iju is depressed upon hearing this news. He did not want the orphanage that was his home to be shut down, but he could never earn enough money to keep it afloat with normal jobs. The only way one could earn a lot of money quickly in this world was by becoming an awakened. As he sees the net for videos about becoming rich quickly, he comes across the interview of 2 awakened. They clearly say that the biggest difference in their life was money, and they also mention something called popoy but don't say anything after that. 7 years ago, towers appeared out of nowhere and pulled people inside them randomly. The people chosen by the tower had to clear its trials, and only a few of them returned to the outside world. No one knew what happened inside the towers, as everyone who came out kept it a secret. Those people were called awakened and had mana, which was the most important resource in the world. Magic engineering was the most important discipline in the world, and only the awakened with mana could do it. Thus, they were in demand and companies paid a ridiculous sum to hire them. Iju wonders if there was a tower somewhere near him so that he could clear it. But then he receives over 500 files that say things like he had cleared certain levels and gained followers. He thinks that the files could contain viruses or be used to hack him. But as he is trying to delete the files, he accidentally opens it. Inside, he sees a video of him streaming from within the tower. The Iju in the video is shocked as he learns from the comments of his streamers that he was stuck in the tower now. The Iju, seeing the video, watches all the videos one by one and realizes that it was really him who was clearing the tower. He also sees a monster named Popoy in the video, which appears like a cute furry ball, but had sharp teeth that could chew down rocks. The videos tell him about the various challenges and rewards in the tower and what decisions should he make. At that moment, Iju realizes that it was the video of his future sent to the past to help him. No one talked about what was inside the tower, so no one had any reference material for training, but Iju had all of it. He signs up at a gym to get in better shape. The portal would open up in 2 years, and Iju plans to get stronger by that time as he works his job while studying the videos. He quits his job 1 month before the portal opens up but is anxious if the videos were just a misunderstanding. But a portal opens in his room, and Iju is sucked in. He gets the option to choose the difficulty level of the tower, and he chooses high difficulty, which would give him the best rewards. He wakes up in shock inside a cave. He checks his screen and learns that his first trial would start in 1 hour. He already knows everything about the trials and streaming. The awakened who were still in the tower could watch the performance of the newcomers and interact with them. If they were impressed by the newbies, they could even reward them with coins. Whenever a newbie they rewarded climbed up a milestone, they also got coins as a reward. Iju's first viewer is the Love, and Iju welcomes him by calling him Big Brother. But the Love is happy on seeing a different reaction than other newbies and decides to tip Iju, and even follows him on learning that he was a sharp lad. Being followed gave additional benefits to the newbies, and one person could follow only one newcomer at a time and had to unfollow them before following anyone else. There was a grand reward every time someone gathered 100 followers. Other viewers also come to see Iju as he had selected hard difficulty. He acts dumb when the viewers tell him that something dangerous was coming, but they could not specify. There was someone called the admin that could kick viewers out or even the streamers if they did not follow the rules he had set. The admin was the reason the truth of the towers was safe from the world. The trial starts and 3 small portals appear in front of Iju. He was expecting something like kobolds, but he finds that his first opponents are 3 Popoy, adorable but dangerous. Many viewers leave on seeing that Iju had met with Popoy so early, thinking that he would die soon. Iju acts dumb and asks the viewers more about the Popoy, and they tell him about their defense and weapons. Iju knew that Popoy never attacked first and realizes that they were wary of him being with them. He decides to mimic their behavior so that they do not see him as an enemy and begins circling the Mana Stone along with the 3 Popoy. The Love was thinking of following another streamer, but he is surprised when he finds that Iju was still alive against 3 Popoy. He is shocked on seeing that Iju has become a member of the Popoy group and tips him again and sends a voice message. The Popoy ate everything that had a high concentration of mana, and the Mana Stone was excellent food. They were wary of Iju and hesitated to perform their eating ritual while he was with them. But once they accept him, they invite him into their ritual and begin eating the stone. The viewers go crazy when Iju joins the monsters and starts eating the stone too. But he feels that it was actually edible and filled him with energy. His body glows just like the Popoy after they are full, and the viewers think that it was the end for Yiju as the Popoi surround him. But instead of attacking him, they climb on him and become his friends. The trial is cleared, shocking everyone in the viewer list. Yiju loses consciousness for a moment and gets back up soon. Yiju checks the comments of the viewers and realizes that he has got 120 plus viewers and 50 plus followers, too much for the first floor. He thanks the viewers and they ask him what was he thinking when he joined the Popoi. He says that he thought he could not win against the Popoi, so he decided to join them. The trial was to eliminate the enemies, and what better way to do that than by making them friends. He just followed them and got lucky. This is what he tells the viewers even if they did not fully believe it. The viewers remind him about the rewards and he acts like he didn't already know. He gets a gift box with a rare white mana stone, a nickname-changing ticket, and a bag of coins. The Popoi jump at the stone, but he keeps it to himself as the stone was worth 5,000 coins. He knew it from the videos and not many of his viewers knew this themselves. The viewers tell him how to check out item information too. The nickname-changing ticket was a gift one got on higher levels. Yiju is about to leave for the second floor when the Popoi lead him somewhere. They dig a cave and Yiju decides to follow them. The viewers are also surprised as they did not know much about Popoi's behavior. He crawls through a cramped cave but it doesn't hurt his body. Instead, it feels like a massage. He begins to glow once again and he asks the viewers, even though he knows that it was the strengthening aura of a knight. He could change the class on the 5th floor, and knight was an option along with mage and magic engineer. He picks up the rare item talisman necklace that the Popoi have found and keeps it despite the Popoi getting angry. It would boost his luck and also save him from death one time. The viewers cannot believe Yiju's luck as the necklace was not found before the 10th floor. He also remembers that he used it on the 15th floor in the video. But the love sends him a voice message to put it on and Yiju wears it and hides it under his shirt. He decides to go to the next floor and takes his Popoi friends with him too. The second floor is a coliseum with quotes engraved on the walls. He has 10 minutes to prepare for the trial and he would have to survive for 30 minutes to complete it. There were two possibilities about the enemy. Either there could be 2 sea serpents or 1 red bear if he was unlucky. He checks the shop and decides that he would follow different strategies against different monsters and does not buy anything immediately. A portal opens in front of Yiju and it keeps on growing bigger. The portal is too big for even a red bear and Yiju and his Popoi are afraid when a giant dragon turtle comes out of it. The viewers are also shocked and say that this was the reason he got a talisman necklace so early. Yiju decides that he cannot keep running away and has to defeat the turtle to earn the hidden reward that was granted only if he defeated the enemy. He buys a rare grade weapon Radaz's one-handed axe for 250 coins in the shop to fight the monster. The viewers are confused about his strategy, but Yiju is trying to get on the back of the turtle. He lacks the strength to do it immediately and starts whittling down the turtle's defenses instead. The dragon turtle uses its lightning breath and Yiju dodges it easily. But once the dragon turtle is injured, it retreats into its shell to heal. Yiju takes advantage of the resting monster and climbs on its back. The viewers try to tell him that it was not safe there as the spikes on its back would explode. Even the love tells Yiju to get down using a voice message as he was not reading the comments. But Yiju already knows this and plans to use it as a weapon. He breaks one spike and pierces the turtle's body with it. Then he pours mana into the spike to make it explode inside the turtle's body, critically injuring it. Yiju was able to barely evade the range of the explosion. He had taken a risky decision but it paid off. He approaches the dragon turtle and finishes it. The mission is cleared and he receives the hidden reward he wanted. The Popoi want to eat the corpse of the turtle and Yiju gladly agrees. But the viewers are shocked by the way he defeated the dragon turtle, which was usually an enemy for 3 streamers at a time on the 11th floor. He acts shameless and confident and says that he thought he could do it, so he did it. He checks out the reward for clearing the floor first and finds another rare mana stone inside. There is a pouch of 500 coins and a subspace backpack that could carry items up to 500 kilograms. The rewards were nothing extraordinary except for the mana stone, so the viewers are not suspicious. He opens the hidden reward and finds a heroic upgrade rune that could increase the grade of any item by 1 up to the heroic grade. But Yiju is getting dizzy and weak due to the battle and injuries, and the viewers tell him to go to the 3rd floor because the streamers were healed every time they crossed floors. And since Yiju had got 100 followers, he was given the chance to choose a blessing from health, strength, agility, mana, and luck. Yiju knew the uses of different blessings and decides to choose the blessing of mana as it would be helpful on the higher floors. No one knew about it till they reached those floors, but it would be amazing once he got the hang of it. Yiju plans to be a magic engineer like the genius American battle engineer he had seen in the videos. If he followed in the footsteps of that man, he could create wonderful weapons for himself. He crosses to the 3rd floor and is completely healed. The trial to defeat the sleeping guardians on the 3rd floor would begin in 10 minutes. Iju remembers that the description of the trial was similar to that in the video. The difficulty level was also the same because he would not take the trial alone. Another cheerful streamer comes in through a portal and he is shocked on seeing another human there. His name is Ha Yeonseok and he cries about how difficult the previous floor was. They start talking about their experience and Yeonseok is curious about the Popoi. But the guardians start coming out as they are talking and they have to get ready to fight. The guardians are 2 giant stone statues, one with a spear and the other with a shield. They had to be defeated simultaneously or they recovered. Iju does not waste time and attacks the guardians. His body glows as he uses his full power to attack the statues. He is ruthless and defeats both guardians alone. Yeonseok is impressed and comes near Iju, but one of the guardians is still not defeated and he wakes up. Iju tells Yeonseok to duck, but he is too slow to react and Iju has to jump at him to save him from the attack of the guardian. Both the guardians are completely revived and stand up once again. Iju decides to go all out and kill both the guardians for sure this time as his viewers cheer on him. He is even more ruthless this time and both of the guardians are defeated and the trial is cleared. The viewers are really impressed and donate a large amount of money to Iju. He tells them that it was not so hard to fight these guardians after all. The viewers laugh when they see that Kim Iju could defeat monsters easily but not find the portals even when they were right in front of him. They instruct him where to find the portal and he starts walking towards it. Ha Yeonseok approaches him with the intent of talking, but Iju is in a hurry to go to the next floor and runs away saying that they could talk properly the next time they met. He climbs up the stairs and finds a scroll that contains the will of the defeated guardians. They tell him the story of an evil emperor of the Asteroid Empire. The empire suffered under the crazy ruler and the guardians wanted to be destroyed to be free of their duty. And as the final piece of advice, the guardians had written that the traveler reading this should never face the evil emperor. Iju already knew that the message was related to what he would face on the 5th floor. The portal opens up and Iju decides to check the reward he got. The viewers guessed that since the difficulty had decreased, the reward would also be plain. The reward is just 1 bag of coins and Iju is disappointed till he opens it and it contains 5,000 coins. 10 times the normal bags. But before he enters the 4th floor, the viewers remind him about the Popoi that were not looking very good. Even Iju had not realized it while he was busy fighting the guardians. The Popoi look sick and he finds that it was not because they were hungry. None of the viewers know anything about the Popoi and how to help them. But the love asks Iju to go to the 5th floor as he could find something there. Iju accepts the advice and is about to leave for the 4th floor when Yeonseok comes to thank him. Iju also smiles and tells him that if they got the chance, they would work together again someday. Iju enters the 4th floor, which is an intelligence test. He has to solve a puzzle containing 100 pieces in 6 hours or he would be trapped inside the 4th floor. Even though he had 56 O coins and could buy food in the store, he would soon die if he got trapped. He had to tap the crystals that would change their color, and if he found the correct pattern, he would be able to find the solution for each row and then for the entire puzzle. He had struggled a lot in the videos and while learning the puzzle patterns too, but he used a trick to memorize the pattern by linking them to numbers and was able to solve it. He touches the crystals like he is playing a rhythm game and his followers are not sure if he was thinking anything at all. But he is able to do the test in just 20 minutes, surprising every one of his viewers. A follower donates him 200 coins and asks him if he was a certified genius. But the love cannot let anyone donate more than him and donates 500 coins to Iju. Iju checks the rewards and it is 5,000 coins again. He thinks that he could buy the heroic grade skill book on the 5th level with that. He picks up the Popoi and steps into the 5th floor while the viewers talk about his speed. If Iju had not devoted too much time bonding with the Popoi on the 1st floor, he would be the fastest person to reach the 5th floor. But the 5th floor is different from the previous floors. It is in the form of a story and the streamers will have to play the role of characters in the story. The viewers could also not change the stream for the duration of the 5th floor trial, which was about 1 week. There would be another streamer on the floor and both the streamers would be a character in the world Asteroid. There were 2 ways to clear the trial, either by reaching the designated ending or by killing the other streamer. Inside the story, Iju wakes up in the body of a rich boy. He reads the diary of the boy who is obsessed with magical beasts, and his father and big brother do not like this habit. Iju knew that he was in the body of the 2nd prince of the Asteroid Empire, Kaoli du Toprox. In the story of Asteroid, the 2nd prince Kaoli has to burn the magical beasts he raised when his father, the emperor, finds out. After that he gets drunk and throws a tantrum on the roads, getting the title Wretched Prince. But Iju's trial is to become the emperor in 7 days while possessing the body of the prince, and he cannot use violence to do that. Iju is disheartened and disappointed on finding such an impossible task. He had thought of becoming a magic engineer, but the system did not let him choose. While he was getting ready to choose the power he had on the 5th floor, he wanted to choose magical engineering. Based on the power, he would possess the body of an important figure. In his case, it would be the Imperial Engineer. He could become other important characters if he chose powers like magic, strength, assassination, etc. But before he can say his choice, the system assigns him powers related to magical beasts that leads to Iju becoming Prince Kaoli. Iju decides that if reaching the goal was easy, he would do that. Otherwise, he would kill the other streamer. Iju summons the servant named Fordrick who had promised to supply him with magical beasts. He had already procured the magical beasts for his prince and presents them to him. Iju is shocked on finding his Popoi in the cage and they are still unwell. Fordrick explains that the Popoi had consumed too much mana stones which led to their poor state. But he is shocked on seeing mana radiating from the body of Prince Kaoli. Fordrick is worried as a sudden burst in mana could prove fatal, but Kaoli assures him that he was alright. As Fordrick is leaving, he warns Kaoli about the first prince. Fordrick was the guardian knight of Kaoli's mother and became his aide when she passed away. Iju knew the story and plans to achieve the designated ending as it would give better rewards. He unlocks the secret passage to the basement and takes the Popoi there. There are other magical beasts in the room and they are happy on seeing their master. Iju places the Popoi on a shelf and browses the store. He buys a skill book that would grant him basic knowledge about magical beasts, but he finds nothing useful about the Popoi. He also has to think about the other streamer and how to restrict their movement so that he completes the goal first. The other streamer is Lee Seani, who knew swordsmanship from the real world. He had taken up the strength power on the 5th floor and became a knight. On the previous floors, he was brutal and used his partner as a shield in the 3rd floor. But his brutality had attracted more viewers and donations. But he finds that he can become stronger just by training on the 5th floor. But then the second Prince Kaoli visits him. Lee Seani is also good at acting and keeps playing his role as a knight commander. But Iju is there to test him and asks him about the alcohol the knight commander liked. Seani takes help from his viewers who give him the name of the most popular drinks among Astrode nobles. He takes a guess, but Iju finds out that he was just lying. He confronts him about the truth and releases his secret too at the same time. Seani is threatening Iju with his sword when Fordrick stops him. He threatens the knight commander that even though he was demonstrating his skills at the prince's request, he could be beheaded for trying to attack a prince. Seani is terrified and runs away while Fordrick escorts Prince Kaoli back to the palace. Meanwhile, Seani is scared when he finds out about Fordrick and turns to his viewers for help. They tell him to find dirt on the second prince and his aide, and Seani finds that he had 3 Popoi with him. The viewers tell him about Kim Iju, the streamer who befriended the Popoi. They tell him a method that worked when he found out the identity of the other streamer and instruct him to go to a chapel outside the city after he had confirmed it. Seani goes to the chapel, which is the hidden piece of the 5th floor. He has to tell the name of the other streamer to the guardians, and if he was right, he would pass immediately. But when Seani tells the guardians that the second player is Kim Iju, the guardian laughs at him and says that his answer was wrong. It also curses Seani and he loses all the skills he gained after coming to the 5th floor. What had really happened was that Iju had used his nickname-changing ticket. The viewers are surprised that he knew about the hidden piece, but they guess that he must have learnt it from someone's comments. They suggest him names like Mr. Freshman or Popoi, but Iju is bad at names and decides to call himself Kim Iju too. He is flustered as his viewers make fun of him, but at least his trick worked and his opponent lost their progress. Seani is furious at Iju and comes to his room and tries to attack him. But he is too slow and dull because of the loss of his skills, and Iju is able to disarm and pin him to the ground. He warns Seani that he was keeping him alive only because he could still prove helpful, and if he tried anything funny, he would not hesitate to kill him. Seani understands that Iju is not bluffing and runs away as soon as he is free. Iju wonders if he could become the emperor even if the real emperor died. If nothing else happened, he could rely on killing Seani on the last day. As he sleeps, he dreams about the videos of his attempt at the tower. He was a knight too, and he remembers that on the 6th day, the second prince underwent trial for the charges of assassinating the emperor. That time, Iju took strength as his power and became a knight commander named Alec. He hears the story from a noble who tells him that all the nobles had gathered to witness the imperial trial. The faithful Fordrick was devastated in the videos he saw. But the Emperor had beastmen guards who were supreme in awareness. It was improbable for someone like the second prince to kill the king in their presence. Iju and Alex's body goes to attend the trial and is disturbed by how rigged the trial was. The representatives of the three houses were selected as jury and they passed the decision without following due process. Kaoli was caught red-handed when the king died and the court decides he was the criminal without hearing his side first. The second prince, Kaoli, was timid and too shaken to say anything either. He is not given the right to appoint a lawyer as well, and the prosecutor states simple statements that label him the criminal. Kaoli can do nothing but tremble as the trial is going on and admits that everything the prosecutor said was correct. The jury decides to punish him by tying him to horses and dragging him across the kingdom. Fordrick tries to speak up for his prince, but his voice of reason is not heard. Iju was horrified and enraged at the unfair nature of the trial and swears that he would destroy the tower and make the admin take responsibility for all the unfair business in Astrode. Only one of his viewers asks him to stay true to his promise. With that, the dream ends and Iju wakes up in Kaoli's body, but he tells his viewers that he was going to reach the designated ending, despite their warning that Kaoli goes through hell. But he is determined to learn more about what brought things to that condition. He calls Fordrick when he finds nothing in the diary entries and asks him why his father had not allowed him to keep magical beasts as pets when he was young. Fordrick tells him that the Emperor denied his request back then because the magical beast he wanted was quite dangerous. Iju decides to go to the Emperor despite knowing the ending. The viewers have to keep quiet or the admin would kick them out and can only hint him by mentioning the scroll on the 3rd floor. Iju walks to the Emperor's room knowing the danger. He recalls the story of the Emperor who seemed to go mad after the death of his wife and Kaoli's mother, Empress Pradessa. He stopped trusting everyone as he suspected that someone killed his beloved wife. Iju turns off the chat to focus more on the current situation and tells his viewers that they would find out why he did this soon. The beastmen guards do not let even Prince Kaoli meet the Emperor, and he screams at the door to get his permission. His plan works and he is granted an audience with his father, Radiak Dutoprox. Iju had planned to show the Emperor a Kaoli that would surprise him, and he is successful in doing that by telling that he knew about the beastmen he had hidden around him to keep him safe, and that he would act as a good son to repay that. He requests to talk to his father alone without the beastmen listening to him and tells him that the ring he wore to control the beastmen was a fake. The real one was stolen and replaced by the first Prince Sloan a few years ago when he acted drunk at a party thrown for him and spilled alcohol on the Emperor. The Emperor is not satisfied with that and Iju explains how exactly the first prince switched the ring. But the Emperor demands proof and Iju says that there was no need for proof as the Emperor had noticed it himself. The Emperor bursts into laughter and says that he was amused. He asks Kaoli what he wanted and gets told that he wanted to be the Emperor. The Emperor reminds his son that there could be one Emperor only and Iju replies that he should die for his son to become the Emperor. A viewer is really impressed by the boldness and tactics of Kim Iju and decides to tip him with 1,000 coins. He sends him a voice message cheering him on. Even other viewers are so impressed that they send hearty donations to him. He opened his chat after the conversation with the Emperor was over and thanked the viewers for their generous donations. With his ending sorted, Iju decides to learn more skills with the remaining time. He goes to the magic engineering workshop and meets the first prince, Sloan Dutoprox. They both butt heads and ask each other about their purpose of visiting the workshop. Iju guesses correctly that he got the information from the beastmen and wanted to know more about what he talked about with the Emperor. But on hearing that the truth was known, Sloan starts shaking and tries to bully his brother. Sloan is about to hit Iju when the head magic engineer of the royal family, Bran, stops them from fighting in front of his workshop. The first prince tries to assert dominance, but Bran is not taking him seriously. Sloan thinks that he would execute Bran the moment he became the Emperor, but right now, it was the time to run away from insults. It seems that Kaoli had made a decent impression on the magic engineer who lets him come inside his workshop. Once inside, he is informed by the system that he can buy skill books related to magical engineering now. But he buys those books despite the majority of his streamers telling him not to. They start to troll him for his decision and say that he was wasting the coins donated to him. He decides to ban one viewer who was too rude as an example to everyone. But when he decides to learn all 4 books at once, he feels like throwing up, just what the viewers were telling him. Even with that, he is not sure that he has learned a lot from the books, but he is confident that he could still follow the instructions and get better with time. Meanwhile, Prince Sloan is planning to become the emperor and get rid of Kaoli in one move only. Kaoli had asked Bran to let him use his workshop and ensured that he had some knowledge of material mechanics and thermodynamics. Bran is interested in the boy and gives him a problem to solve. Iju uses everything he knows but can answer only half of the problem. But he had scored passing marks in Bran's test, who lets him use his workshop. Iju apologizes to his viewers that it was going to get a little boring from now on. He spends his days trying to create something, and less than 2 days are left for the trial to come to an end. But as he is busy in the workshop, Fordrick informs him that the king had been assassinated and the culprit was not yet caught. But the soldiers and a bailiff are there to arrest Kaoli immediately, and they take him to the interrogation room. The day of the trial comes and Iju remembers every line said by the prosecutor. He realizes how terrible the poor second prince must have felt in this situation, where no one believed him. But the trial begins and everything is happening exactly like in the video. When the prosecutor is done explaining the points, he asks the prince if he had some objections. Iju says that he did not kill the emperor, and when the jury asks him for evidence, he says that he has a witness instead. The entire gathering of nobles is thunderstruck on seeing the witness in favor of the second prince. The witness is no one else but the Emperor Radiak Dutaprox himself. As he enters the courtroom, everyone utters their disbelief, but the emperor announces his presence, making the nobles and the jury bow down before him. Then the emperor takes the seat designated for him and decides to take on the role of the judge for the trial. The representative of the nobles, Grand Duke Magnus, was also a member of the jury, and he is the one most shocked by the king being alive. The emperor already knows about his involvement in the conspiracy and turns to the representative of the middle house, who had also joined Grand Duke Magnus. Seeing that even he was stammering, the emperor asks the representative of the lower house and the commoners to tell him about the trial. He tells the king everything that had happened, and the king declares that Kaoli was not guilty of his assassination. But then the emperor turns his attention to Magnus and counts his crimes and slaps him once for each crime. He tells Magnus that he dishonored his oath as a member of the jury and even abused his power as the representative of the nobles by conspiring with the first Prince Sloan. The king orders his knight commanders to throw Magnus into the prison where he would spend the rest of his life. 4 days ago, when Iju had visited the emperor and asked him to die, he had made an elaborate plan. He had explained to the emperor that Sloan would try to frame him for his death, but the plan, he told the emperor, would turn the situation around. He gifted the king his talisman necklace that protected him from certain death once. With that, the king orders Kaoli to be released and Sloan to be arrested and brought before him instead. Sloan is brought to the trial and the emperor orders the trial to start, but Iju interrupts and volunteers to prove Sloan's crimes, and the emperor gives him the chance he asked for. Iju starts interrogating the first prince, who is uncooperative. But on being cornered, he snaps and starts acting arrogantly with the man he thinks is his pathetic little brother. Iju realizes that if the real Kaoli was here, he could be swayed by the man he thought was a caring brother. He then starts remembering the pages from the diary entry of the naive second prince. The demand to get a magical beast was on the advice of Sloan, who told Kaoli that their father would be happy if he asked about it. Later, his father found out about the hidden magical beasts under his room and asked him to burn them down. Although Kaoli could not imagine his brother or Fordrick doing it, in truth, it was Sloan who did that. One day, forced by his father's orders, Kaoli burnt the magical beasts that he loved so much. He could not bear the grief and decided to drown himself in alcohol at a commoner's bar where he would not be recognized. But the hunters in the bar boasted about the magical beasts they had hunted, and he got very angry. The next thing he remembered was waking up injured with Fordrick tending to him. Iju is angry on Kaoli's behalf and proceeds with the trial. Sloan becomes cooperative and asks for the Beastmen guard to come forth as his witnesses. He hides the ring to control the Beastmen under his handkerchief and uses it to manipulate his testimony. But the guard swears on his honor as a knight that the one who entered the emperor's chamber was Sloan Dutaprox. Sloan realizes that the king had the real ring and he was holding onto a fake. He realizes that there was nothing that could save him now and drops the rings. He is dejected, and Iju uses the ring as further proof that the man behind the attempted assassination was the first prince. Iju asks the emperor about the identical ring. The emperor tells the court that his ring was made by the master engineer Bran, and the one the prince had was crafted by one of his disciples who stole the blueprint for money. Iju asks the emperor for permission to deliver the final verdict, but Sloan objects. He says that the trial was not following due process. He says that Kaoli was not qualified to act as a prosecutor, but he also admits having paid the people in the gallery. Iju asks if anyone wanted to speak in favor of the convict, but no one wants to help Sloan now. He declares that the first Prince Sloan was found guilty of the attempted assassination of the Emperor and should be arrested immediately. Then he asks the Emperor if he could deliver a personal message to the criminal as he was the victim of his schemings too. The Emperor allows, and Iju goes to Sloan to release his anger as well as the pain Kaoli must have felt. He follows what the Emperor did with Grand Duke Magnus and hits Sloan while counting his crimes. He uses his knight's aura and with the heavy blows, disfigures Sloan's face. Then he resumes his duty and declares his verdict. Sloan was to be tied and dragged by horses across the empire. The Emperor agrees to the judgment and adds some more to it. He orders Sloan's head to be cut off and hung at the tallest point of each city for 1 month. Sloan cries and screams as the guards take him away. But then Iju has to focus on his designated ending and asks the Emperor if he could speak to him as his son. He asks the Emperor to step down from the throne and hand it over to him in front of all the nobles. The Emperor starts laughing and says that although he did not like unjustifiable conviction, he liked it this time because he was confident that it was said in good faith. He comes down from his throne and gives his last order as the Emperor of Astrode. He would be stepping down from the throne and Kaoli Toprox would become the new emperor. But just as the declaration is made, time freezes for everyone except Iju and he finds himself in his body in a strange space. The administrator has contacted him and requested him to be an administrator too. But Iju declines the offer and the admin warns him that the consequences would be dangerous if he did that. Iju asks the admin if he would be killed for refusing, and the admin tells him that they would be waiting for him on the 10th floor. Iju sees the message that he had to spend his time in the world and would be immediately transferred out to the 6th floor once it was over. He clicks the yes button and the time is restored where it stopped. Even the viewers of his stream could notice that something was weird as their screens buffered for a moment. But now Iju has succeeded in making Kaoli the emperor. His father throws a party celebrating the new emperor. Sloan is being escorted by the other streamer Seani to his cell. Sloan gets angry when Seani laughs at him, but the streamer is not paying any attention to him. Even his viewers have lost interest in him and are certain that he would die soon because Kim Iju had already won. Their words are proven right and Seani gets a message saying that he had lost but something was wrong with Sloan. He had turned into a puppet for the admin for the execution of Seani and kills him. Inside the palace, Iju is now the emperor with a day and a half before the time is over. His viewers are proud of him and admit that it was the most epic floor 5 they had ever seen. But before he does anything else, Iju visits the room of Kaoli's late mother, Empress Pradessa. He had cried on seeing the videos of Kaoli's unfair trial and pledged to make things right for him when he entered the tower. He leaves the room and the viewers have different opinions. Some of them tell that it was not even real and Iju realizes it too. But he is happy for himself and Kaoli as well as he enters the party. But Iju wakes up with a hangover next day. The former emperor and Bran had teamed up and made him drink more than he could handle. He is about to vomit when his viewers tell him to cut the signal while he did that as they did not want to see it. Once he is done, he opens up the streaming again and the viewers ask him to use the coins they donated yesterday. He checks that he now has over 16,000 coins and is shocked that so much money had come in while he was drunk. But the love is the most generous when supporting Iju and makes a donation of 10,000 coins. Iju thanks him and the other supporters and promises to work even harder. But then he goes to see Radiac and asks some questions. He asks why was he so angry when Kaoli had asked for a magical beast as his birthday present. He tells Iju that the magical beasts had signs of going berserk and he realized it was Sloan's doing too. He thought that Kaoli reminded him of Pradessa, who was also kind to a fault. With that he asks the new emperor to go and mind his busy schedule. Iju leaves the former emperor with an emotional goodbye. Next, he goes to the workshop to meet Bran and bid him farewell too. While going there, he argues with his viewers that he wanted only magical engineering and it was the best class. Bran is happy to meet him too and hands him over the gloves that Iju had made in his workshop. They were powerful but still unstable and he urges the new emperor to be careful with them. With that, Iju takes the gloves and some other items with him and bids the master engineer farewell. But he thinks that after he leaves the floor, everything would return to normal and Kaoli would still be a victim in all the stories. He wonders if his actions had any meaning at all. But on the 3rd floor, something is changed. When a streamer opens up the scroll after clearing the hard mode, he finds a story that is different from what Iju read. It told of an emperor that reached the title without conspiracy and ill efforts. The emperor led Astrode to new heights and his people loved him dearly. The scroll ends with a warning to the streamer to not disturb the kind heart of the noble emperor. The viewers on the stream are shocked on reading this version of the story and think that it was a bug. They argue among themselves, but the signature at the end of the scroll revealed that it was written by Fordrick. Iju's actions had made a difference in Kaoli's story and that of Astrode as well. Inside his palace, Iju calls for Fordrick to tell if anything changed with the Popoi. Nothing was new with the Popoi, but Fordrick is certain that they were not going berserk. Happy to hear that, Iju goes to meet his friends. The Popoi have become better after not eating anything for a few days as their metabolism is restored again. Iju unlocks them and starts playing with them. Iju tells his viewers that he would need to turn the chat off to focus on what he was making. He was right to do that as the viewers' comments are truly distracting. Most of them are asking him to cause some chaos in the remaining time or just spend it playing with the adorable monsters. Iju shuts down the chat and starts working on the glove. But as Bran had told him, the glove was too unstable. Iju could not fix one thing without breaking another due to the complexity of the circuit. This was one of the reasons he respected the genius magic engineer named Reynold. His impact was so great on magic engineering that the age of engineering was divided into before Reynold and after Reynold. But Iju somehow makes his glove work with just 10 minutes remaining on the clock. It is like an Iron Man glove that can follow mental instructions using his mana and also shoot beams. The chat is also resumed and he interacts with the viewers again. The time for the trial ends and Kim Iju is transferred out of the 5th floor. The viewers on Seani's stream are automatically transferred to Iju's as refugees, and a banter breaks out between Iju's original supporters and the refugees. Iju realizes that the mood of the chat is going off the rails because of the newcomers and decides to restrict their comments. Anyone could only comment if they had spent at least 12 hours on his stream. The original supporters are happy on the others being muted, and Iju decides to check the rewards finally. He clicks the reward option and a huge box falls in front of him. Even the newcomers are shocked on seeing it and send donations along with voice messages to Iju. But they can send voice messages even with low donations, and Iju raises the requirement to send audio messages to 500 coins. He thinks that they would not disturb him too much with the new barrier. But he gets another donation from the viewer named Luca, who Iju had banned earlier. Luca had sent Iju another message during the trial asking to be added to the chat. This time, the banned viewer apologized even more passionately. But Iju ignores this request like he ignored the earlier one and proceeds with opening the box. But the reward is just a set of plain clothes with no special features. Everyone is disappointed in the prize and complain that it was unfair. But Iju remembers that he got the same prize for clearing the 5th floor in the video. He realizes this was the admin's method to tease him, but he does not care. The next box has something special though. It contains a heroic grade item, Latanto's leather boots. The boots were made from the skin of a snake who died naturally and had all the abilities of the snake. The abilities include hardness control, size control, invisibility, color and texture camouflage. The viewers are shocked by the contrast in the two gifts and call the admin a tsundere. But even though the boots were overpowered, it was too hard to use them. Iju already knew this, and this was also the reason the viewers didn't get surprised by the heroic items as they should have been. But Iju can easily alter the shape and color of the boots, leaving his viewers shocked. Iju finds that he had got 5,000 coins this time also. He had over 20,000 coins, and that was too rare for someone clearing the 5th floor. Iju is thinking of saving the money to buy a special skill book at the 10th floor. But since the 6th floor was a team challenge, he decides to hide away his Popoi. The viewers do not want him to do it as they enjoy seeing the Popoi, but it is Iju's decision after all. Iju is confident that he can clear any challenge he faces in the 6th floor. It would be a team of 4 streamers and they would have to eliminate all the enemies in the Forest of Evil Spirits. The other 3 people are already waiting for Iju. One of them is a burly young man who is a knight. There is a middle-aged man who looks like a mage. But the third member catches Iju's eye. She is a girl wearing school uniform and a mask. She is annoyed by Iju staring at her and asks if this was the first time he was seeing a human being. But what Iju is really interested in is her mask that looks useful and expensive. The knight intervenes before there could be any problem and introduces himself as Young Kang, a health trainer in the real world. The mage is Park Jinsu, and he is not interested in socializing. The viewers in Kim Iju's stream decide that they need to find more information about the other people and leave to spy on their chats. The girl tells that her name is Licia, but she tells nothing about her abilities except that she can take and hit punches. Iju introduces himself and says that he is a magic engineer. The knight is shocked on hearing this and asks if his viewers made him do the mistake of taking the trash job. Iju tells him that he chose the job even when his viewers tried to dissuade him. The girl stops the discussion while still thinking that magic engineering was a lame job. The mage starts the strategy meeting and informs the others that the fog surrounding them was the boundary for the 6th floor. Once the monsters came, the knight and the girl would fight on the front lines and the mage would be in the center. The engineer would stay behind and provide support if needed. The waves start and the monsters come. But the viewers are shocked when a ghost-type monster does not appear as per the usual pattern. Instead, a giant bug comes out and the viewers warn the streamers in their respective chats. But the knight is eager to show off and rushes to attack the monster. But he is also shocked on seeing that the monster had physical form. It blocks his swords and disarms him before attacking the knight. He somehow frees himself from the grasp of the insect monster, but he cannot go too far away. The viewers identify the monster as Cleaner, a devil-type monster that should not come out on the 6th floor. Iju knew about them and the Cleaner was found not below floor 25. He thinks that the admin was being too unfair by increasing the difficulty of the trial so irrationally. But just as the monster is attacking the fallen knight, the girl comes and holds one of its jaws and then punches through its head. Even Iju's viewers are impressed by her strength. The monster is defeated and the first wave is cleared. The girl tells the knight that he was pathetic and unreliable as he could not even listen to warnings. But she is upset that her clothes were stained by the blue blood of the monster. Iju remembers the girl from the videos. Lee Seo was already famous there. But she looks at Iju, who is staring at her, cannot shake the feeling that she was familiar with him. The mage has to revise the strategy for the second wave as the knight is not going to be any help. The viewers who had gone to scout other parties return and tell what the mood was like in their chats. Lee Sea's viewers are like doting parents who are very proud of her. They donated huge amount of money no matter what she did. In the chat of the mage, everyone was a serious and solemn person. But in the stream of the night, there were some very mean people who enjoyed it when his fingers were chopped off by the monster. Iju cauterizes the wounds of the knight with his glove and he just cries while hiding behind them. In the next wave, 2 monsters come and Siha defeats both of them alone yet again. Iju remembers that in the videos he saw, Lee Siha was called the prodigy of close combat. On the 5th floor, she had chosen to be a commoner and learnt close combat from a hermit martial artist. Following that, she earned her title and justified it on every moment. Iju never thought that he could run into her if the difficulty became so high. The third wave comes and the 4 monsters come in teams of 2 from opposite sides. While Lycia is fighting against 2 of them, the mage uses a fireball on the other 2. But he finds out that his attack had no effect against the cleaners. Iju comes ahead to save him and defeats both the monsters using his glove. He knew the strengths and weaknesses of the monsters and can kill them in just one punch. But Siho was also distracted by the second team of monsters and is about to be attacked by the one monster on her side that was not killed yet. But she is shocked when Iju covers the distance between them in unbelievable time and kills the monster in one hit. He does not tell them about the Latanto's boots that gave him the speed boost. But they learn that the mage has no better magic than the one he already used. The knight is annoying and says that they didn't even need his help to clear the rest of the waves. But the mage has realized that the number of monsters won't double but will be squared up from the last round. There would be 16 monsters this time, and on the 5th wave, there would be 256 of them. Iju and Sia clear the 4th wave together as the other 2 members are useless. But they are tense about the final wave. 256 cleaners would come from all directions. The viewers had complained to the admin but there was no one to answer their call. Iju tells the other streamers that he would deal with the cleaners but they had to lay down flat. He charges his glove with magic energy and releases a powerful beam of energy towards the monsters. He realizes that he cannot do it for long and swings his hand as the beam destroys all the monsters in one hit. The other members of the team get up and are shocked to see that all 256 monsters were dead and the ground below them was scorched. But Iju throws away the glove and blood comes out of his mouth because he had used too much magic power. The mage and Lycia come to him and ask him if he was alright. To that, Iju answers that he used too much magic power and it was nothing serious otherwise. He tells Sia to not worry and she turns out to be a real tsundere and gets flustered while denying the truth. But Iju says that they should check out their rewards before moving to the 7th floor. Sia takes off her mask and she is quite pretty. She asks Iju what his real name was as the viewers could not find his stream when they searched him. Iju calculates the merit of telling his name to others. The mage and Sia had loyal viewers but the knight's viewers could come to his stream. He tells her that he changed his nickname to Kim Iju too and viewers start pouring into his stream. As he guessed, most of them are from the knight's stream. On his request and the suggestion of his followers, Iju restricts their entry to his stream. Siha asks Iju if they had met before but he brings forth his reward and everyone is too shocked on seeing the box that they forget to wait for an answer. It was the best one out of all 4, and the other streamers think that something was odd about this. He opens the box and finds another heroic grade item, the leather gloves of Latanto. That gave him abilities of magic amplification and temperature manipulation. He puts them on and the system tells him that the set bonus had activated since he had 2 items from one set. It gave him new abilities called zoom, magic power amplification, and color and texture imitation. But everyone knows that using these gloves was even more difficult than the boots. The night's viewers push him to ask Iju if he could remove the entry restriction, and he says that he can't. He is jealous of Iju and does not even thank him before leaving. Sia is the only one left in the floor with Iju, and he is not too aware of the fact. He puts down the bag as he waits for his glove to cool, and the popoi pop out of it. They sense the magic power from the glove and want to eat it, but Iju stops them. But Sia has spotted them and she asks Iju about them. He does not know how to explain it to her, but he doesn't even need to. Their cuteness steals her heart and she almost says that they were cute. But as it's tsundere, she is too flustered to say it and runs away abruptly. With that, Iju also leaves for the 7th floor as his viewers try to hint him about the next floor. One of them gets too eager and is about to tell him that the level was like psychological warfare, when the admin kicks him out. But on the 7th floor, someone is getting ready for psychological warfare. Iju already knew about the trial, and as he enters the 7th floor, the details are revealed to him. It would be a contest between two streamers. Violence was banned and viewers could not change streams in between. The Statue of Liars, a giant statue with many hands and many weapons, would judge them. But Iju sees the person he will fight against and he is shocked on seeing him. The same person was in the videos too and Iju disliked him. Han Jae-sok was a terrible man who did not hesitate to kill people that were not even part of his trial in the videos. Iju knows how dangerous he is, but acts like a stranger and greets him. He wanted to beat Jae-sok, but it was not going to be easy. The 7th floor was a lie detector type test. You had to find out if your opponent was lying and had to fool them with your lies. The rules of the trial are quite lengthy and confusing as well, but in short it is about getting 3 victories over your enemy in a game of lies and truths. They start trying to find out more about each other and dodge each other's questions before the trial starts. Once it starts, Jae-sok takes the first turn to ask the question. He asks if Iju knew him before entering the tower. Iju refuses, but Jae-sok guesses that he was lying. Next, Iju asks him if he would kill people even without it being needed in the trial, and Jae-sok agrees. The score is 1-0 in favor of Jae-sok, and he asks Iju if he knew what the trial on the 7th floor was before reading the rules. Iju lies but is found out again. He is shocked that how much could Jae-sok have found out about him in just few minutes of observation. But Iju must do something or he would lose. He asks Jae-sok could he kill his wife if it was needed, and while Jae-sok tries to not answer his question, he ultimately says that he could not. Iju tells that it is a lie and the statue gives him 1 point. It is 2-1 now in Jae-sok's favor. Iju's viewers are tense as the nail-biting competition goes on. Jae-sok asks if Iju knew that he was married in the outside world and he replies that he knew it. The score is still the same and the viewers wonder how the two of them knew each other. Next, Iju asks Jae-sok that if his wife followed him into the tower and stood in his way, would he kill her? Jae-sok denies and Iju bets that it is a lie. Jae-sok was a man that could do anything if he wanted to. The score turns 2-1 in Iju's favor, and the viewers think that Jae-sok was a monster in human skin. But Jae-sok knows the correct question to ask as well. He asks Iju that wasn't he actually entering the tower for the 2nd time. Iju feels like the sky has fallen upon him, but he still says that he had not. Jae-sok answers that Iju was lying and the statue moves. It lifts its axe as a message is displayed to Jae-sok. The statue would now punish him. He is shocked that his guess was wrong, but how did Iju manage to lie? It was not a lie as he considered the Kim Iju in the videos as a different person. Since the statue also considered the thinking of the streamer along with the facts, he made sure to believe that this was not his 2nd time. The statue holds Jae-sok's limbs as it prepares to strike him down. But even in his last moments, Jae-sok wants to know who Iju really was. Iju remembers that in the videos Jae-sok was a man devoid of emotions. He had killed his wife on the higher floors and felt nothing. Iju tells him that they knew each other in the past and wonders what would be the outcome of his dying. Will his wife be able to live happily or would she be saddened by his passing? But the guys in the chats rarely let the mood remain serious. They talk about intelligence, psychopaths, and then make light of everything. The new viewers who cannot participate in the chat send donations and voice messages to let them be added in chat. But Iju refuses. Iju thinks that he should check the rewards before going to the next level. He gets another item from the Latanto set, the Arm Guard of Latanto, that gives him the ability to nullify spells. That was the best equipment in the set and Iju can use the ability from the set bonus to change it to match the color of the gloves. He gets a bag of 5,000 coins that is the common trend with him. But as Iju enters the next floor, he is mentally exhausted and falls asleep. The viewers talk about something that he would face on the level. It was something that had made people abandon his stream on the 1st floor as well. But as Iju wakes up right before the trial starts, he finds himself surrounded by Popoi. They jump at him and Iju takes a stance, but they were not going to attack him in the first place. They jump on him and start cuddling. Iju realizes that the Popoi liked him and were happy to see him. He thinks that it was due to the skills he obtained on the 5th floor. But his 3 Popoi also come out of the bag and are jealous of the newcomers. There is no hostility in the Popoi against Iju, and that is why the quest of eliminating the enemies is completed by making them friends. With that, Iju clears the 8th level. Before that, he checks out the reward, which is a scroll this time. He looks at the scroll that has a poem about the world tree, its falling and how it would grow again. Iju already knows that the world tree was actually 2 trees that were twisted around each other and twisted the fate of Astrode as well. The tree was named Forine and Forden, but it fell and the spirit of the devil was let free because of that. The trials of the twisted world of Astrode would be on the 25th level. Iju decides to sleep for a bit more to relieve his fatigue, but the Popoi start playing around him and he wakes up in 1 hour. He leaves for the 9th floor with the 3 Popoi he met in the 1st floor, and the others are sad to stay behind. The 9th floor is again a team challenge and 2 people would have to solve the puzzle like the 4th floor. The time was originally 4 hours for 2 walls and 2 streamers, but it was changed to 2 hours for 4 walls for Iju. But his partner is a beautiful woman who is excited to see the Popoi and holds Iju's hands, who blushes at that. She is pretty and the viewers say that she was a sort of celebrity. She was Jin Haein, and Iju knew her from the videos as well. She was famous by her nickname Witch. She was not just beautiful, but also cunning and smart. Iju knew that many men who were enchanted by her smile met painful ends, and he decides to keep his distance from her. He asks her to do one wall while he did the other. He decides to slow down his speed so that she did not get suspicious, but she was hiding her real ability as well. Iju decides that he must speed up or they would be stuck here, and solves all the 4 walls on his own. Haein jumps at him and hugs him for solving all the puzzles with 20 minutes remaining and calls him a genius. Iju tells her that it was no use lying and he knew that she was much smarter than him. He separates the girl who is clinging to him and she gives him an evil smile. Iju had met her on the higher floors in the video and she had cleared the puzzles on the 4th floor in just 10 minutes. But she laughs that he knew about her identity and asks him to tell his in return. She asks if he was in the tower for the 2nd time, as some of her viewers wanted to know after seeing his performance on the 7th floor. She does not hesitate to flirt with him and asks him to answer his question repeatedly. Iju knew that there was no way to escape from her if she put her attention on someone and makes a deal with her. He answers her question in exchange for her robe that amplifies magic. She thinks that he wants to see her figure, but Iju tries hard to not look at her. She is shocked that he wanted the expensive robe and was not interested in ogling her. But Iju tells her that he was not in the tower for the 2nd time. Neither was it a case of regression or reincarnation. He just knew the most about the tower despite never entering it. Iju has left out many crucial details, but Haein laughs and says that he had piqued his interest. She admits that she liked men with secrets and now she liked him too. Iju is ready to run away as fast as he can now that the floor was clear, and does not answer her question when she asks his real name. Out of his streamers, the love repeatedly told him to not get enchanted by the vile woman. But with that, Iju has successfully entered the 10th floor, the free area. He now had the privilege to watch new streamers before level 10, and could only be seen by viewers above floor 20. The viewers who had spent time watching him and gifted him coins would get their rewards now. Iju tells his streamers that he was going to explore the floor and turns of his stream for a bit. But he can tell that something was different in the 10th floor than he remembered. A commoner girl bumps into a noble and the noble man treats her gently. According to Iju's knowledge, she could be punished for this. He learns that the ruler of Astrode was Emperor Kaali, and in his rule, merit was more important than birth. Iju is shocked and decides to see someone who can answer his questions. He finds the old man feeding pigeons he was looking for near a fountain. The old man is actually the admin, and he tells Iju that he had been in this position for so long that he had lost all his emotions and even forgot why he chose to become the admin in the first place. Iju had met the admin in the 10th floor in the videos and accepted his offer of becoming the new admin. Then that Iju had sent the videos of the tower to his past self for reasons the current administrator did not know. He shows Iju a vision from his future. He would die in the monster attack on the kingdom of Terha on the 15th floor. But Iju is still confident with his decision that he does not want to become the administrator. The admin tells him that he does not know anything except his sense of duty, and that he is nothing more than the ticking hands of a clock. He had tried to fix the twisted world of Astrode, but it was far too complex and he got mad without achieving anything. But Iju could do what he failed to do on the 5th floor by making Kaoli the emperor. That is the reason the admin asks him to become the new admin so that he could make Asteroid a better place. Even though the admin thinks that he does not have emotions left, his frustration is visible as he talks to Iju about his failures. All the admins before him also went insane due to their failures. They chose a successor and took their own lives after that. The Iju in the videos was able to do the best out of all the administrators. But the Kim Iju in the tower right now flips off the admin and declines his offer. The admin transforms into a pigeon from the old man and flies away. Iju decides that he will find the reasons behind everything by climbing the tower. Meanwhile, the real identity of Kim Iju's biggest fan is revealed. The love is a girl named Kang Soha and she is jealous of Haein who is trying to flirt with Iju. He opens his stream once again and declines the option to make his stream show on the trending list. Most of his followers are still there and he realizes that they were all above the 20th floor. He welcomes his viewers back but is shocked on finding over 250 messages. Most of them were friend invites or clan invites. Iju leaves them on read as he does not want to join any clan right now. He decides to change his channel as there were new players there who would not be too familiar with him. This would save him from the people who wanted to get his attention. Iju sees that there were no useful magic engineering items in the market after the change. He goes to the Cray workshop, the main shop of the Empire's magic engineering industry, but he is surprised on not finding Brand there. The man in charge of the shop is Cray and he greets Iju. Iju wants to get his glove repaired and Cray says that he can do it for him. Meanwhile, Iju plans to go to the real auction house to buy some magic stones, which was the place for rich people. There was also the free auction house where lower quality goods were bought and sold. But in the real auction house, he could not inspect the items and had to rely only on sight. But while he is going there, someone stops him. Another player, who is a knight, asks him to not go to the real auction house as they would not let him enter even with 10,000 coins. The knight thinks that Iju is a mage because of the robe he took from Haein, and asks him to join his team. But Iju refuses, saying that he would be fine on his own. There is a girl with the knight, who is probably his girlfriend. Even she tries to scout him, but Iju refuses and heads to the auction house. He had over 40,000 coins and the guards let him enter the auction house, shocking the knight and his girlfriend. The auction house of Silanen is a posh place and Iju is asked to verify his identity at the reception. His name is not verified until he puts 2 at the end of his name, much to the amusement of his viewers. He goes to the waiting lounge and finds Lee Siha there. He takes a seat at her table but the mood turns awkward as neither of them say anything. Siha starts by thanking him for the level 6 and Iju asks her about why she wore a uniform. She says that she had memories attached to the outfit and Iju does not press further. He sends her a friend request and she accepts it since it would be beneficial to both of them. But she is really curious about Iju's friendship with the Popoi and asks him about it. Iju tells her that it is a trade secret and she gets shocked and angry. The auction starts and they leave for the auction room. Iju ignores every item in the auction but his eye is caught by the special item, a necklace with a big red crystal that belonged to a royal princess. Iju identifies that it was the blood magic stone that he was looking for and bids on it at the starting price of 10,000 coins. The viewers are shocked and call Iju crazy for bidding on an unknown gemstone. But there is another bidder, a young noblewoman named Grey Tell. She winks at Iju to tell him to bring it on. The bidding war starts and Iju decides to drop after the bid reaches 20,000 coins. But as he leaves the bid, Sia joins in and competes with the noblewoman. She finally buys the bloodstone for a whopping 30,000 coins and smiles smugly at her competitor. Iju could only find a decent magic stone at 6,000 coins but it was better than nothing. He finds that Sia was waiting for him on the gate of the establishment. She gives him the necklace she bought as a gift and Iju cannot understand why she would do that. She tells Iju that she knew it was a magic stone he wanted and bought it for him since they were already friends, and friends can buy gifts for each other. She is a bit embarrassed and shy and leaves before Iju can even thank her properly. Iju has no idea why she would give him so expensive but Siha's intentions are much purer than he can imagine. She thinks that Iju had no clue about their past interaction that was so important for her now. Some years ago, she was a child in an orphanage complaining that school uniforms were so expensive. She had gone to a new school, and there was no hand-me-down uniform for her. But one man had paid for the uniforms of all the students that year already. Kim Iju was a man who had been raised by the same orphanage and he had come back to help it. Sia had only passed him on the doorstep and he had asked her to be a good girl. But she got a new uniform thanks to him and had never forgotten about that debt. It was fine even if he didn't remember it as long as she was able to be useful to him too. Iju heads to Cray and finds that he had made many modifications to his glove. It looked much better now and was comfortable and easy to use. There were new features that Cray added into the glove, like being able to use magic stone of various sizes and inserting and ejecting them out of the glove using just a button. Iju is really happy on seeing that his glove was weighed so much better by the magic engineer, but he cannot convince Cray to take money for it. The magic engineer says that he had too much fun working on the glove and he cannot ruin it by taking money for it, but he gets Iju to promise that he would give a fitting name to such a great weapon. The next morning Iju wakes up when he hears the growls of his hungry popoi. He feeds them the magic stone he bought from the auction and opens the stream. He plans to visit the 11th floor as soon as possible and reaches the portal that is out in the open. But it was protected by magic and the common people could not see or enter it. The viewers advise Iju to partner with someone to enter the 11th floor as there would be team trials from now on. But Iju says that he would like to go alone and partner up with random people. He originally wanted to take the people who had supported him from level 1, but since the difficulty may be rigged, he would be causing them harm instead of helping them. He gets the option to select the difficulty again and choose the high difficulty. He goes through the portal and comes out on an island where two people are quarreling. There is a boy and a girl and both are knights. With Iju, the requirement of 3 people has been met and the challenge would start soon. They would have to defeat a magical beast whose difficulty level would be the average of their difficulty levels. They are relieved on seeing him wearing a robe, but then Iju tells them that he was a magic engineer. They feel betrayed and think that their chances of winning the battle had gone down the drain. Iju has no problem with their attitude as it was to be expected. The 2 knights look at the sea and hope that they have to face the sea serpents, but it seems like the opponent is going to be more difficult than that. Iju is excited to see what monster got the 2 knights so scared, but he finds out that it is only a dragon turtle like the one he defeated on the 2nd floor. He is disappointed in the situation and decides to not use his glove against the turtle. He transforms his gloves into an axe and comes in front of the knights, and he tells them that he would defeat the turtle on his own. He charges at the dragon turtle and realizes that his control on the gloves was still not up to the mark, but he has injured the turtle and forced it to go in healing mode. Iju uses that moment to jump up to the turtle's back and uses the same technique as before. But there is a twist as the turtle is about to explode all the spikes as Iju is on his back. He breaks a spike, jumps up, infuses it with magic power and hits it like a baseball straight to the exposed neck of the turtle. The spike explodes and kills the turtle. The knights are thankful to him and want to add him as a friend, but Iju leaves abruptly. Clearing each floor from now on would open 2 portals, one to higher floors and one to the 10th floor. Iju plans to go back to the 10th floor and retry this level as he got only the regular reward this time. But it turns out that he did not get anything special for clearing the 11th floor after all. The reward for clearing the 9th floor was a good one. He got Latanto's coat that would give him higher defense, and he changes its shape and design to match his looks. Back on the 10th floor, Iju decides to name his 3 popoi. The viewers give him bizarre ideas, some of which are quite weird. But Iju decides to buy more skill books about magical beasts that are up for a sale and learns them. He can understand the popoi better and finally decides their names. He names them after the gods of Astrode, Laha after the goddess of affection Palaha, Kodin after the god of bravery Raskadin, and Barin after the goddess of wisdom Tabarin. The viewers also enjoy the new names, and Iju realizes that he was getting too unguarded with the popoi while streamers were watching. He puts them back in his bag and plans to not let the common people see them too much till he clears level 15. But he feels bad for putting them inside the bag after he has gained new skills and understanding of the popoi. Iju goes to the 12th floor that is again a team trial with 4 people. He finds 2 people, a knight and an assassin, that were already a team. But the 3rd member is someone who followed Iju on his journey from floor 1 to 9. He calls him the Emperor and kneels, but Iju scares him to behave normally. Even then, the boy named Young Sengjun keeps on making mistakes and hypes up Iju a lot in front of the other 2 streamers. The viewers think that Sengjun was doing most of it on purpose to embarrass Iju, and Iju is more bothered by his viewers making fun of him. Iju tells the pair of knight and assassin that he knew Sengjun from 11th floor and asks more about them. They were not in a clan and had turned off their streams as well because both the places were not supportive. Iju knows that since they could not get advice from anyone, it would be hard for them to clear the 12th level on their own. He turns to Sengjun and asks him about his journey. He tells Iju that he was stuck on the 10th floor for a long time, but then he found Iju's stream. He donated coins to him and was rewarded handsomely after that. He used that money to buy good equipment and cleared more floors. Iju suggests that Sengjun should devise the strategy as he had cleared the 12th floor before. But the other knight is shocked on learning that Iju was a magic engineer, and the situation is somehow calmed by his partner. Sang-jung lays down the plan and warns the others that the enemies were intelligent monsters that could learn about their attack patterns, so it would not be wise to rely only on skills. The other knight gets angry and Iju realizes it could be tough managing a team like this. But the time for the trial starts and the enemies are Yetis. Iju and Sang-jung would be in the front and the other two would support from the back. But the other knight underestimates the Yetis and rushes at their boss with his spear. Sang-jung is concerned, but Iju decides to not help him unless it was necessary. The people who did not heed warnings could meet terrible ends, and they would not learn anything unless they faced the danger up close. But as the knight gets closer to the leader of the Yetis, he is scared and stops in his tracks because of his intimidating aura. But he cannot look bad in front of his girl and the two strangers. The Yeti boss says something to the knight and Iju thinks that he understands only one word in his speech, but he can still understand his sentiments. Iju knows that Yeti leaders died after their position was taken, and thus they strive to prove that they were not old yet by igniting their fighting spirits. This Yeti boss was the same. The knight swings his spear at the Yeti boss, who can easily dodge him. So, he decides to use a skill that would blind the Yeti and he could take a clear aim. But even though the Yeti closed its eyes, it did something that made the knight miss his aim. As the Yeti raises his fist to hit the knight, he yells Sumaha and the knight is scared for his life. But Iju comes in to save him and then makes quick work of the Yeti leader. With their leader dead, the morale of the other Yeti falls and Iju quickly defeats all of them. The assassin and Sang-jung thank him and the knight is too embarrassed to speak. They believe that Iju had cleared up to the 19th floor and that is why he was so respected by Sang-jung. The knight asks Iju what did the Yeti leader meant by the word he yelled, and Iju tells that Sumaha meant child in Yeti language. The knight is really embarrassed and runs away with his girlfriend chasing after him. Sang-jung also says that he would head out first and Iju asks if he had seen him from floor 1. Sang-jung replies that he saw him from floor 2 and Iju thanks him for watching and supporting him. Sang-jung turns back and says that he should be the one to thank him instead. He kneels and wishes great luck on the emperor, but what he does next shocks Iju out of his mind. He turns around while kneeling, jumps up into the portal yelling Papoi loudly. Sang-jung had seen Iju from the first floor and seen what the other viewers called his dark and embarrassing history. He was messing around with Iju by acting like he did on the first floor and all the viewers burst out laughing on seeing that. Iju is shocked for a moment and then he calms down. The rewards were average and he thinks that it was fine as the difficulty was ordinary too. He changes the channel to America so that he would not encounter anyone who had known him like Sang-jung did. After that, Iju goes to the 13th floor that is a snowy terrain. It would be a trial consisting of 8 people but 6 of them are already there. They are quite welcoming and act like they do not know each other, but Iju knows exactly who they are and plays along. They were an evil clan called Black Scorpion. They used various dirty tricks to loot innocent players who teamed up with them. They would make mistakes on purpose and then ask compensation from other streamers for taking damage. In some cases, they even killed the weaker players after taking all their money and equipment. They welcome Iju nicely even after knowing that he is a magic engineer because to them, he is easy prey. But the last participant comes in and he is already injured because he was mugged by a similar group on the 12th floor. Iju's viewers pity him as he had run into thugs on 2 consecutive levels. The time to take the trial comes near and the group of thugs tell Iju and the last member, a knight, to stay back. Their leader Kuttner is the one who does all the talking and he is acting like a kind person. But when the monsters come, he plans to kill some of them and let the rest breach their defense so that his plan could proceed. The monsters they are facing are venomous hounds. But before anyone can do anything, Iju jumps to the front and kills one of the monsters. He is reminding Kuttner and the others to pay attention when some monsters jump at his back. But he creates spikes out of his coat and kills the hounds even without looking at them. Kuttner is wary of Iju now and commands his men to get into battle position. On the other hand, even the hounds are aiming at Iju only. Kuttner tells Iju that he does not believe him being a magical engineer. He had Latanto's equipment and it was impossible for anyone except a knight to handle them. He suspects Iju of being a criminal hunter sent after their gang. The gang notices that Iju has other Latanto equipment that could be sold for a high price, and they are excited to kill him. Iju decides to prove that he was really a magic engineer by using his glove. He charges it up with energy and punches a monster to its death. Then he uses a magic power beam to destroy the remaining monsters instantly. The work Cray had done was amazing as the power output was stable, there was less recoil, and the attack was much more efficient. The assassin is hiding on a tree and thinks that Iju had let his guard down after killing the monsters. He jumps on him but Iju uses his coat as tentacles and captures the assassin mid-air. But the trial is cleared and both portals are open. The thugs are scared and run towards the 10th floor, but Iju jumps in their way and blocks it. But he let the innocent bystander pass who is confused by what was going on. With only the evil clan left in front of him, Iju tells that he was open to conversation. His viewers want him to kill the thugs, but Iju has planned something more fitting for them. They were not ordinary thugs. He knew every evil thing they did thanks to the videos. They were currently on the 13th floor only and were quite weak. But they became much more dangerous once they crossed the 20th floor in the future. Iju asks them how many coins did they have, and when they try to convince him otherwise, he shuts them up and sets up a few rules. They could only talk when answering his questions, and they could not lie. One of the knights gets angry and badmouths Iju. He turns to his comrades and says that they should gang up and kill him. But they are looking at him with horror, and he soon realizes that a tentacle is approaching him from behind. Iju grabs the knight's tongue using the tentacle and rips it out without mercy as punishment for breaking the rules. He tells the criminals that they did not deserve to be treated as humans, but if they had any objections they could speak now. But the thugs are too terrified of him and do not say anything. He calls their leader Kuttner forward and says that even though he was a wretched criminal, he was still a good leader when it came to his team. He sends his friend request to Kuttner, and the evil man is shocked that Iju knew his nickname in the game, Cuthead. He is intimidated into accepting the request, and Iju starts his game. He asks him about the financial details of his team and then to send all their coins to him over friend's direct message. Iju knew that the system was designed so that no one could forcibly take away coins from someone or loot them after killing a person. But there were complex ways like blackmailing and threatening that people like Kuttner used. Right now, Iju was using the same methods, and when Kuttner says that he did not have any money, Iju whispers to him something from the future. He was going to regret that he left a precious magic stone in the clan building on the 10th floor, once he rushed to the 20th floor without planning properly. If he declined to give all his coins right now, Iju would go back to the 10th floor and find the magic stone for himself. Iju tells him that if he gave all their coins to him, he would not touch the crystal and even leave his group free to enter the 10th floor. Iju interrogates the criminals about their coins and takes them all away. Then he demands for all their healing potions and takes them too. But when the criminals think that they would be let out now, Iju instead cuts one of their ankles. He tells them that he knew all about their crimes, from scamming people to kidnapping, child abuse, arson, and murder. He pours the potions on their ankles that he cut so that it healed without the chance of regenerating, and tells them that he was going to send them to the maze on the 14th floor. It was going to be a 6-person cooperative trial, and they would have to do it with only one leg. Iju tells them that they had forgotten to give him the coins they got as a reward for clearing the floor, and that is why they were being punished. He throws Kuttner and his party into the portal, but the reward he gets for clearing the floor are ordinary. The viewers were however really impressed with his strict punishment for the criminals and asks if he was going back to the 10th floor. Iju says that he would directly go to the next floor. He is still in the American channel and finds a party of 5 people. They seem to be experienced and nice people and explain their case when Iju asks. One of their members was injured and insisted that they carry on without him as he healed on the 10th floor. The leader of the party is a knight named Robert, and he starts the strategy meeting. Iju knew about the floor, but the paths of the maze always changed, and he could not use the path that was given in the videos. Even Robert says the same thing but adds details that they had to reach the center from one of the starting points. One of the 4 starting points was the easiest, and they would be lucky if they entered it. Iju asks if one person could clear it himself if he chose the easy path, and Robert does not think that. But Iju insists to go alone no matter what. The party has a strong sense of duty to not let him face the danger alone, but they cannot move Iju from his decision. They give him a potion in case he needed help and give him some instructions to stay safe. The party of 5 goes to the western start point and Iju picks north. The party is worried about Iju, but Robert is confident that he won't die. He was clever and had some good equipment, probably more than he showed. But they are still concerned that going alone was not a good idea. But it soon turns out that they needed to be more worried about themselves. They face the strongest monster in the floor, a bloodsucker, and their equipment is damaged. But one of them hears a familiar sound coming from the walls which scares them. And then the wall blows up, revealing Iju standing there. Iju had gone to the northern point and his Popoi Barin had come out of the bag. He started eating the wall of the maze, and following him, the other 2 Popoi also come out. Iju thinks that the wall could be a mana stone if the Popoi were relishing it. But he tries it with his glove and it turns out to be something else. The streamers also enjoy this weird method of cutting through the walls of the maze as Iju uses the hole in the wall to move ahead. He comes across a fork in the path when he notices that Robert's team was fighting a bloodsucker, the strongest monster on the floor. He asks his Popoi to break the walls, but Laha breaks it and starts running ahead. The Popoi is strengthened after eating and breaks the walls like a cannonball. Iju manages to hide all the Popoi behind his back as he faces Robert and party. He gives them an excuse and asks them not to move around if their equipment was damaged. They were shocked that Iju could come to them using a strange way, but why was the voice of Popoi coming from him? Iju asks the Popoi to head in the direction of the light pillar in the center and reaches there in no time. He hides his Popoi before clearing the trial and then touches the pillar of light. The party is relieved that he cleared the maze and saved them. They thank him and leave for the 10th floor. Iju wonders about the 15th floor. It was said to be easier than the 5th floor usually, and was a place to learn skills and grow stronger. But if the admin interfered, it could get much worse than that. But he remembers the vision he was shown on the 10th floor and thinks that there could be something too dangerous waiting for him. He opens the reward box and it is disappointingly normal. But Iju's viewers are not going to let him down and donate heartily to compensate for the poor reward. Iju thanks them and tells them that he would head to the 10th floor first and get himself organized. But the real reason was that he needed something that was on the 10th floor. He goes to the traveler registration office on the 10th floor and inquires about the base of the Black Scorpion clan. But he has done it 87 times already before finding the right channel. Once he is inside their empty base, Iju releases his Popoi and asks them to find out the hidden magic stones. He finds stones that would be worth a lot and sells most of them. Some of the remaining ones are a treat for the Popoi, and some are for his glove. He has sold other items he got as rewards and now has about 87,000 coins. His preparations are complete and he changes to the Korean channel before entering the 15th floor so that he can get the follower reward. He tells his viewers that he was planning to learn night skills on the 15th floor as it was the best place for that task. But when Iju enters the 15th floor, he is shocked on spawning outside the city. The streamers spawn near a fountain inside the city, but it can be assumed that Iju was spawned outside because the required number of streamers were not there yet. All 50 streamers come to the 15th floor and the trial starts. The Kingdom of Terra was the front line against Monster Assault, and all the players had to find a power and the corresponding mission. Iju plans to go to the Fountain of Trials first, but he meets a huge soldier named Pahalam. He is the warrior chief of the kingdom and the viewers warn Iju to run. He shakes hands with Pahalam and cannot move from his place because of his immense strength. But Pahalam is also impressed that he could hold his ground against his strength and decides to increase the level of his greeting. He kicks Iju, who uses his boots and coat to defend himself from the dangerous attack. Pahalam is impressed that Iju could still stand after receiving his attack and says that he liked him. But Iju is concerned by the welcome he received as Pahalam smiles menacingly. His viewers are worried why the crazy and strong guy had come out too early, but there is nothing anyone can do. With this, the video ends here.